In the 1800s, our nation developed a public education system, creating free, tax-supported schools, not just because this was good for the individual, but because it was good for our communities and the nation as a whole. Over the decades, many reforms have happened to make schools accessible for all children, including the 1954 Brown versus the Board of Education decision that outlawed racial segregation in schools, and a 1975 act that mandated education be provided to students with disabilities. There are also constant reforms happening to update and upgrade schools, and not every reform is effective or positive. Public education, like democracy itself, is a perpetual project, one that needs our steadfast commitment and examination. I have been reading an old book that was recently re-released. It's called Hope in the Dark by Rebecca Solnit. And she talks about how there's darkness, but it isn't always negative. Often it's just not knowing what's ahead. If we look throughout history, so much progress has been made. Who would have imagined in 250 years we would build a nation where we can insist public systems work for all people, even if we haven't achieved this yet? That we can vote freely, that we can transfer power peacefully, that we can have differences and build common ground and keep fighting for the country we know we can be. In this book, she says, and I'm quoting her now, cause and effect assumes history marches forward. But history's not an army. It's a crab scuttling sideways, a drip of soft water wearing away stone, an earthquake breaking centuries of tension. Sometimes one person inspires a movement, or their words do decades later. Sometimes a few passionate people change the world. Sometimes they start a mass movement and millions do. Sometimes those millions are stirred by the same outrage or the same ideal, and change comes upon us like a change of weather. All that these transformations have in common is that they begin in the imagination, in hope. To hope is to gamble. It's to bet on the future, on your desires, on the possibility that an open heart and uncertainty are better than gloom and safety. To hope is dangerous, and yet it is the opposite of fear, for to live is to risk. Here's to the year ahead, in the country and in Michigan. Here's hoping it brings us all the things that we need and desire, especially for our children. Here's to 2026.